good morning. Or maybe it's not morning where you are. Maybe it's late at night and you're lying in bed, listening quietly, thinking about tomorrow. Either way, I'm really glad you're here. Welcome back to English with Thomas. Today, I want to talk about something very familiar, very human, and very rarely spoken about honestly. That feeling when you wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, before you open your laptop, before you say good morning to anyone, you already feel tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but a deeper tired, a quiet heaviness in your chest, a tiredness that feels emotional, mental, and invisible. Today's episode is called I Feel Tired Before Work Even Starts. And as always, we will walk through this feeling together slowly, gently using English not just as a language, but as a way to understand ourselves. Let me start with a small moment from my own life. I remember one morning very clearly. The alarm rang at 6:30, not loudly, just that soft, repeating sound. I didn't jump up. I didn't rush. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling. My body was still warm under the blanket. The room was quiet. Outside, the sky was still pale, not quite blue, not quite gray. And in that moment, I felt something strange. I wasn't sleepy. I had slept enough, but I felt tired. I remember thinking, I haven't done anything yet. Why do I already feel exhausted? Have you ever felt that you wake up and your mind immediately starts working? Emails you haven't answered, meetings you don't want to attend, tasks that feel endless. Your body is still in bed, but your mind is already at work. Repeat this sentence softly with me. I feel tired before work even starts. Say it again. Slowly. I feel tired before work even starts. This sentence is simple, but inside it, there is a whole story. That morning, I eventually got out of bed. I made coffee. I stood in the kitchen, holding the mug with both hands. The coffee was hot. The smell was comforting, but my shoulders were tight. My jaw was tense. I wasn't thinking, today will be difficult. I was thinking, today will take something from me. That's an important feeling. Sometimes work is not hard because of the tasks. It's hard because of what it asks us to give. Our attention, our energy, our patience, our silence. Let me tell you about someone else. Someone I met many years ago. I'll call him Daniel. Daniel worked in an office. Nothing dramatic. A normal job. A normal salary. Every morning he arrived early. Always polite. Always calm. But one day, during lunch, he said something that stayed with me. He said, by the time I sit at my desk, I already feel like I've finished a full day. He smiled when he said it, but his eyes didn't smile. I asked him, why do you think that is? He thought for a moment, then said, it's not the work, it's the pretending. That word pretending is powerful. At work, many of us pretend. We pretend we're confident. We pretend we're not tired. We pretend we understand everything. We pretend we're fine. And pretending takes energy. Say this sentence with me. Pretending takes energy. Again, slowly. Pretending takes energy. When you learn English, you might feel this too. You smile. You nod. You say yes even when you're not sure. By the time you speak, you're already tired not from speaking, but from holding yourself together. Daniel told me that every morning, before work, he sat on the bus and prepared himself, not for tasks, not for deadlines, but for being a version of himself that work expected. Have you ever done that? Sitting on a bus, standing on a train, walking into a building, and quietly saying to yourself, okay, let's do this. Not with excitement, but with acceptance. That quiet preparation can feel heavy. I want you to notice the phrase, "Let's do this." It sounds strong, but sometimes it's not motivation. Sometimes it's survival. Now, let me bring this closer to you. Think about your morning. You wake up. What is the first thought that enters your mind? Is it calm or is it pressure? Try saying this sentence out loud. When I wake up, I think about. Finish it in your own words. Maybe when I wake up, I think about my boss. When I wake up, I think about money. When I wake up, I think about emails. There is no right answer. There is only honesty. Sometimes we think tiredness comes from doing too much, but very often it comes from thinking too much before we even begin. That morning I told you about, I realized something important. My tiredness wasn't in my body. It was in my expectations. I expected myself to be productive. I expected myself to be positive. I expected myself to perform before breakfast, before sunlight, before breath. That's a heavy way to start a day. Let's slow down the language here. Repeat after me. I feel pressure to perform. Again, I feel pressure to perform. Now try this. I feel pressure before work starts. Notice how these sentences feel in your mouth. Language is not just sound. It carries emotion. When you say these sentences, you are not complaining. You are naming reality. And naming reality is the first step to changing how it affects you. Let me share another small scene. One evening after work, I was walking home. The street was busy. People were talking loudly. Cars were passing. I noticed how everyone walked fast, shoulders forward, eyes down. Even though work was finished, their bodies were still working. That's something we rarely talk about. Work doesn't always end when we leave the office. Sometimes it follows us home, into dinner, into conversations, into sleep. So when we wake up the next morning, we are already tired, not from today, but from yesterday. Say this sentence gently. Work follows me home. Again, work follows me home. If that sentence feels true for you, it's okay. You are not weak. You are human. Now, let's connect this to English. Many of you listening are learning English because of work. You need English for meetings, for emails, for interviews, and sometimes English becomes another responsibility, another thing to be good at. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not learning English to be perfect. You are learning English to express yourself. There is a difference. Perfection creates tension. Expression creates relief. Let me say that again. Perfection creates tension. Expression creates relief. Repeat it with me. Now imagine this. You arrive at work. Someone asks, "How are you?" And you say, "I'm fine." But inside, you feel tired. English often teaches us polite answers, safe answers. But today, I want to give you something more honest. Try this sentence. I'm a bit tired this morning. Say it slowly. This sentence is simple, professional, human. You don't need to explain everything. You don't need to apologize. Sometimes just naming your state is enough. When we hide our tiredness, it grows. When we acknowledge it, it softens. I remember a student once told me, "I feel tired before work, but I don't know how to say it in English." So we practiced not complex sentences, just real ones. I feel a little tired today. I didn't sleep well. It's been a long week already. These sentences are not weakness. They are communication, and communication builds connection. Let me return to that morning again. After coffee, I sat by the window. I didn't check my phone. I just watched the light change, and I said something to myself quietly in English. I don't need to be ready for everything. Say this with me. I don't need to be ready for everything. Again, I don't need to be ready for everything. That sentence changed my day. I still worked. I still answered emails. I still did my job. But I stopped asking myself to be strong before I even started. There is a difference between responsibility and self-pressure. Responsibility says, I will do what I can. Self-pressure says, I must be more than I am. Most of our tiredness comes from the second voice. Let's talk about another story. A woman I know, I'll call her May, worked in customer service. Every day, she spoke English with clients. She told me, before I even open my mouth, I feel tired. Why? Because she was afraid of making mistakes. She prepared sentences in her head. She corrected herself silently. She smiled through uncertainty. By the time the conversation ended, she was exhausted, not because of English, but because of fear. Fear is tiring. Fear tightens the body. Fear speeds the heart. Fear never rests. So we worked on something different, not grammar. Permission. Permission to pause. Permission to say, let me check. Permission to say, can you repeat that, please? These small sentences are powerful. Repeat after me. Can you repeat that, please? Again. This sentence gives you space. It gives your mind time to breathe. Learning English is not about speed. It's about presence. Now, I want to ask you something gently. When you feel tired before work, what are you afraid of? Is it making mistakes? Being judged? Not being enough? You don't need to answer out loud. Just notice, because tiredness is often a message. It says something inside me needs care, not motivation, not discipline. Care. Let's practice one more sentence. I need to be gentle with myself today. Say it slowly. Again. This sentence is not lazy. It's intelligent. Because when you are gentle, you last longer. I've seen many learners push themselves too hard. They study when they're exhausted. They judge themselves for small errors. They compare their progress to others. And then they say, I'm tired of English. But they are not tired of English. They are tired of pressure. English, at its core, is a human language. It was not created for perfection. It was created for connection. So today, if you feel tired before work, try this small shift. Instead of asking, how do I get through the day? Ask, how do I arrive gently? Arrive gently at your desk, at your screen, at your first sentence in English. You don't need to run. You can walk. Let me leave you with one final image. Imagine your day is a long road. You don't have to see the whole road in the morning. You only need to take the first step. And maybe that step is not working harder. Maybe it's breathing. Maybe it's saying, I'm tired, and that's okay. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are listening. You are learning. You are here. And that is enough for today. And before you turn this off, before you move on with your day, I want to stay with you a little longer. Because sometimes when we talk about feeling tired before work even starts, we stop at understanding. We say, yes, that's me. And then we go back to living the same way. But today, I want to gently walk one step deeper with you. Not to fix anything, so not to change your life overnight. Just to sit with this tiredness and listen to what it is trying to say. There is a kind of tiredness that comes from doing too much. And then there is another kind, quieter, heavier, that comes from carrying too much, carrying expectations, carrying responsibility, carrying the image of who you think you should be at work. Many people wake up already wearing an invisible uniform, even before they get dressed, a role, a mask, a version of themselves that feels acceptable. And that mask can be very tiring. I remember another morning, different place, different job, I was brushing my teeth, looking at myself in the mirror, and suddenly I thought, I don't recognize who I am at work anymore, not because I was pretending to be someone else, but because I never allowed myself to be anyone. Just function, just performance, just getting through the day. Have you ever felt like that? Like your job slowly takes pieces of you? Not violently, but quietly. You don't notice it happening. You just notice one day that you feel empty earlier than you used to. That emptiness often shows up as tiredness. Say this sentence softly. I feel empty before the day begins. Again, slowly. This sentence is not dramatic. It's honest. And honesty is always the beginning of something healthier. Let's bring this back to language again. When you feel tired, your English changes. You use shorter sentences. You avoid conversation. You answer quickly to escape. That's not a failure. That's your nervous system asking for safety. So instead of forcing yourself to sound confident, try sounding real. There is strength in simple English. I need a moment. I'll get back to you. I'm still working on it. Repeat this one with me. I'm still working on it. This sentence is gentle. It doesn't rush. It doesn't apologize. It tells the truth. Now imagine starting your workday with less resistance. Not excitement, not motivation, just less resistance. Resistance sounds like this. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I'm already tired. But acceptance sounds different. This is what today looks like. I will take it step by step. I don't have to carry the whole day at once. Try saying this. I will take it step by step. Again. Notice how your body reacts when you say it. Sometimes tiredness comes from trying to live the entire day in the first hour, answering tomorrow's problems today, worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Your mind runs ahead, and your body is left behind. No wonder you feel exhausted. Let me tell you about a small habit I learned. When I sit down to work, especially on days when I feel tired before starting, I don't ask myself, what do I need to finish today? I ask, what is the first small thing I can begin? Not finish, begin. Beginning requires less energy than finishing. Beginning invites movement. So maybe your first step is opening one email, reading one message, writing one sentence. Not everything, just one. That matters for English too. You don't need to speak perfectly all day. You don't need to understand everything. One clear sentence is enough. One honest sentence is enough. And if that sentence is slow, that's okay. Slowness is not weakness. Slowness is presence. Repeat this sentence. I can speak slowly. Again, you are allowed to take time in English and in life. Now, I want to touch something very important. Many people feel tired before work because they don't feel seen. They give effort. They show up. They try, but no one notices. Or worse, people only notice mistakes. That can drain you deeply. If that's you, I want you to hear this clearly. Your value is not measured by productivity. Your worth does not begin at 9 a.m., and it does not end at 6 p.m. Work is something you do. It is not who you are. Say this sentence quietly. My job is not my identity. Again, when you separate who you are from what you do, work becomes lighter. Not easy, but lighter. And English becomes lighter too, because you stop using it to prove yourself and start using it to express yourself. Let me share one last image with you. Imagine your tiredness is a cup that's already full in the morning. If you keep pouring meetings, tasks, expectations, it will overflow. But if you first pour something out, honesty, gentleness, breath, there is space again. So today, before work begins, pour something out. Maybe it's a sentence like, I don't need to rush, or I will do my best, and that is enough. Say one of them now. Feel it. You don't need to become a different person to feel less tired. You just need to stop fighting how you feel. Tiredness is not the enemy. Ignoring it is. Thank you for staying with me until now. Thank you for listening, not just to English, but to yourself. And even after saying goodbye, I want to remain with you a little longer, like a quiet presence in the room, not asking anything from you. Because there is another layer to this tiredness that often goes unnoticed. Sometimes we feel tired before work because we are already disappointed. Not in the job itself, but in ourselves. We wake up and think about what we planned to do weeks ago, skills we wanted to learn, habits we wanted to change, confidence we hoped to have by now. And when we realize we are still in the same place, a soft disappointment settles in. It doesn't shout, it doesn't cry, it just sits there. And that disappointment turns into tiredness. Say this sentence gently. I feel disappointed in myself sometimes. Again, this is not self-criticism. This is self-awareness. And awareness, when it is gentle, is healing. Many people believe motivation comes first, and then action follows. But often, it's the opposite. Action creates energy, not big action, small, kind action. Especially on workdays when you feel tired before you even begin. So instead of asking yourself to feel motivated, ask yourself to feel present. Presence is quieter than motivation, but it lasts longer. When you are present, you notice small things. The sound of your keyboard, the feeling of the chair under you, the rhythm of your breathing. These small anchors keep you from drifting into mental exhaustion. Now, let's bring this back into English again, very naturally. When you feel tired, your sentences become heavy because your thoughts are heavy. So lighten the sentences. Instead of long explanations, try short truths. I'm working on it. I'll need some time. I'm not sure yet. Repeat this one. I'm not sure yet. This sentence protects your energy. It gives you space to think without pressure. You don't need to sound certain all the time. Certainty is expensive. Clarity can come later. I once worked with a learner who said, I feel tired because English makes me feel small at work. That sentence stayed with me. Feeling small is exhausting, because when you feel small, you try to become bigger than you are. You speak faster. You agree too quickly. You hide confusion. That takes so much energy. So instead, practice something brave. Practice being simple. Simple English. Simple honesty. I didn't catch that. Could you explain that again? I'm learning. Say this. I'm learning. Again. This sentence is powerful because it removes shame. Learning is a process, not a performance. And when you allow yourself to be a learner, tiredness softens. Let me ask you something important. What would your workday feel like if you didn't need to prove anything? If you didn't need to show strength, speed, or perfection? Just presence, just effort, just enough. Try saying this sentence now. I don't need to prove myself today. Again, slowly. Sometimes the body feels tired because the heart is tired of proving. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow and instead of asking, how will I survive today? You ask, how will I treat myself today? That question changes everything. Maybe you speak more slowly. Maybe you take a deeper breath before replying. Maybe you forgive yourself for a mistake instead of replaying it all day. That is not laziness. That is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is one of the most important skills at work and in language. Because language is emotional. We don't speak just to exchange information. We speak to feel safe, to feel understood, to feel human. If you feel tired before work, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means something inside you needs acknowledgement. And today, by listening to this, you gave yourself that. You stopped. You listened. You stayed. that matters more than you think. Before we truly end, I want you to hold on to one final sentence. A sentence you can take into your workday. Repeat it with me. I will move at a human pace. Again, a human pace is not slow or fast. It is responsive. It listens. It adjusts. Machines don't get tired before work. Humans do, and that is not a flaw. That is proof that you care. Thank you for giving me your time, your attention, and your honesty. And even now, as this episode feels like it should be ending, I want to slow the moment down instead of closing it quickly. Because real tiredness does not disappear just because someone understands it. Sometimes it stays. And when it stays, it asks a different question. Not how do I fix this, but how do I live with this more gently? There are days when tiredness is not a signal to rest. It is a signal to be honest. Honest about limits. Honest about capacity. Honest about the fact that you are not an unlimited resource. Many people grow up learning how to work hard. Very few people learn how to work kindly. And kindness, especially toward yourself, is not something you suddenly have. It is something you practice often in small, quiet ways no one sees. I once noticed something about myself. On days when I felt tired before work, I spoke to myself very harshly. Come on, don't be weak. Other people can handle this. Those sentences lived in my head like background noise, and background noise is exhausting. So one day, I changed the voice, not the situation, not the job, just the voice. Instead of saying, come on, I said, I know this feels heavy. Instead of, don't be weak, I said, this is hard, and I'm still here. Say this sentence with me. This is hard, and I'm still here. Again. Notice how that sentence does not push. It stays, and staying requires courage. Let's talk about another reason we feel tired before work. Unfinished emotions. Things we didn't say yesterday. Moments we swallowed instead of expressed. Frustration we carried home quietly. Emotions don't disappear when we ignore them. They wait, and in the morning they wake up with us. So if you feel tired, ask yourself gently, what am I still carrying from yesterday? You don't need to solve it. Just name it. I'm still thinking about that conversation. I'm still upset about what happened. I'm still disappointed. Naming lightens the load. Now, in English, we often think emotions need big words. They don't. Simple English carries deep truth. I didn't like that. That bothered me. I'm still thinking about it. Repeat this one. I'm still thinking about it. This sentence gives emotions room without drama. Another thing that drains us before work begins is comparison. Scrolling. Looking at other people's success. Their energy. Their confidence. And then looking at yourself. Comparison doesn't motivate most people. It shrinks them when you compare your inside to someone else's outside. Tiredness grows fast. So if this is part of your morning routine, try one small change. Before work, before your phone, give yourself one quiet minute. No improvement, no planning, just breathing. That minute is not wasted. It is protective. You are protecting your energy before the world starts using it. Say this sentence softly. I don't have to start my day with pressure again. Pressure early in the day feels heavier because you haven't built strength yet. You wouldn't lift heavy weight without warming up. So why do we ask our minds to do it? Let's connect this back to speaking English at work. On tired days, choose safety over performance. Safe words. Safe sentences. You don't need advanced language to communicate clearly. Clarity is kindness. I'll follow up later. I need some time to think. Let's discuss this later. Repeat this one. I need some time to think. That sentence is not avoidance. It is respect for yourself and for others. Thinking takes energy. And tired minds still deserve time. There is something else I want to say, very honestly. Some tiredness is not yours to fix. It comes from systems that expect too much, from workplaces that reward constant availability, from cultures that confuse being busy with being valuable. If you feel tired before work in those environments, it doesn't mean you are failing. It means your humanity is pushing back, and that pushback is healthy. You are not meant to be endlessly efficient. You are meant to be alive. Let me give you one final practice you can carry with you. Before starting work, before opening your first task, say one sentence to yourself. Choose one. I will do what I can today. I don't need to rush. I will take care of my energy. Say it now. Let it settle. That sentence is not a promise to others. It is a promise to yourself, and promises to yourself matter. If today feels heavy, that doesn't mean tomorrow will be the same. And even if it is, you are not alone in this feeling. Many people around the world are waking up tired, quietly asking the same questions, carrying the same weight. By listening, by reflecting, by speaking even slowly, imperfectly, you are already responding with care, and that is enough for this moment. And as we stay together in this quiet space, I want to acknowledge something very real. Sometimes tiredness is not dramatic. It doesn't come with tears. It doesn't come with panic. It comes with numbness. You wake up, you move, you function, but inside, something feels flat. No excitement, no resistance, just a dull sense of, here we go again. That kind of tiredness is easy to ignore and dangerous to dismiss, because numbness is often a sign that you've been strong for too long. Strength, when it is continuous and unrecognized, turns into fatigue. I once heard someone say, I'm not tired because my life is hard. I'm tired because I never stop holding myself together. That sentence stayed with me. Holding yourself together takes effort. Smiling when you feel pressure. Staying calm when you feel overwhelmed. Being polite when you feel misunderstood. So if you feel tired before work, ask yourself gently, where am I holding myself too tightly? Maybe it's your shoulders. Maybe it's your expectations. Maybe it's your words. In English, we often try to sound professional. But professionalism does not mean emotional silence. It means clarity. It means respect. It means honesty within boundaries. You are allowed to sound human. Try this sentence. I'm feeling a bit stretched today. Say it slowly. This sentence is not emotional. It is accurate. Stretching too far for too long creates exhaustion. Another quiet source of tiredness is anticipation. Not excitement, anticipation of stress. You expect interruptions. You expect problems. You expect misunderstandings. So your body prepares for battle before anything happens. Preparation without rest is draining. Instead of preparing for everything that could go wrong, try preparing for steadiness. One breath, one sentence, one task. That is enough. Repeat this, one thing at a time. Again, there is something very important I want you to hear now. You are allowed to have tired days and still be competent. Tiredness does not erase your skills. It does not erase your intelligence. It does not erase your value. It simply means your system is asking for balance. In language learning, tired days are often the days we judge ourselves the most. We hear our accent more. We notice mistakes more. We feel slower, but slowness does not mean regression. Sometimes it means integration. Your brain is still learning, even when you feel tired. Learning does not always feel energetic. Sometimes it feels quiet. Let me give you another sentence to carry into your workday. Repeat after me. I'm allowed to be where I am. Again, this sentence releases comparison. It releases urgency. Now imagine this. You are sitting at your desk. You open your first task instead of thinking, I need to get through this. You think, I am here now. That shift is small, but powerful. Presence reduces exhaustion because it stops the mind from running ahead. And when the mind stops running, the body follows. There is also something gentle I want to remind you. Work will ask things from you. English will ask things from you. But neither deserves everything from you. Save something for yourself. Save a little energy. Save a little kindness. Save a little silence. Those things refill you more than productivity ever will. Before we truly let this moment fade, I want you to repeat one final sentence, not loudly, not forcefully. Just honestly, I will listen to myself today. Again, listening to yourself is not selfish. It is responsible. Because when you listen early, you don't have to recover later. If you feel tired before work tomorrow, remember this. You don't need to push through it blindly. You can walk with it consciously. And walking, even slowly, is still movement. Thank you for staying with me, for allowing these words to meet you where you are. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself.